Engine 30 is at 3340 Claremont Ave South. We have a working fire. This is a new construction building. Defensive fire saw will be in effect. Engine 30 will be Claremont Ave and on or need a supply.
Engine 30 at working fire.
On July 13th, 2024, Seattle firefighters battled a massive 2-alarm fire on Claremont Avenue in South Seattle. Now, one thing to notice right away, this fire is giving off a huge amount of radiant heat. If you think about sitting next to a campfire and how hot that makes you, even though the flames aren't touching you, the same thing is happening here, but on a much, much larger scale. If you look at the tree across the street from the fire, you can see that it's starting to burn already, and one of the parked cars is smoking. That's going to catch fire as well. Now, for some reason, the usual scanner audio sites did not record most of the beginning of this incident. I downloaded a few clips, which I've included in the video, and then later on in the incident, there was more audio. So if you wait a few more minutes, you'll get more of the firefighter radio traffic, and until then, it's me narrating. Now you can see there's a burning power pole in front of the fire building. This is something that's going to give firefighters a headache throughout this incident as they deal with downed power lines and utilities. You can see it sparking right now, and we're about to see some big sparks if you watch right here. There are a few gaps or places where the video jumps. Those are usually a pretty short amount of time, and that's how the video came to me. That's how I downloaded it off the archiving site. So not something that I added in there intentionally. Speaking of archiving, big thanks to safetyvid.com. They're the reason that I'm able to get a lot of this footage for you. So I really appreciate their site being available to me. Now we're about to see some water coming from the right side of the screen. A lot of the initial fire units parked on an adjacent parallel street just off view of the camera.
Dispatch from Command, can we upgrade this to a 211 response?
Battalion 5 is at. This is an escalating incident. We've got 211 coming. This is a fully involved, under construction apartment building.
So again, I was pretty frustrated that I was not able to get the full radio traffic for this, but I did what I could, and it was not available on the usual places that I look. But now we can see the water's coming from the right side of the fire. The trees on the left are smoking even more, and these flames are just huge, tearing up into the night sky as firefighters and neighbors can feel the heat coming off of this fire. Now, 211 or 2-alarm response is going to pull units and resources from all across the city. Now we see the power lines bouncing here. That's probably from them falling down, either slightly out of frame here or on the other side of the burning building. The other half of the fire response was on Claremont Avenue, which is one street over and not immediately visible here.
All units from North Division, emergency traffic. We've got power lines down to the north.
Yeah, all units, there's too much radiant heat for us to get anywhere close to this building, so we're just going to have to hit it with 2.5 as best we can to start knocking the heat out of it. We've also got fire on the south side on a couple of cars.
Engine 28 is at. Command, we're going to hit this exposure on the south side of the street.
Who's working on the exposure on the south side?
Command, that was Engine 28.
Command received. Command post is on the correct standby.
Now, in addition to the burning building, firefighters are also worried about exposures. We mentioned the tree, which you can see just now starting to catch fire, as well as at least one of those cars across the street. There's also concerns about neighboring buildings catching fire, again, just from the heat coming off of this burning building. Unfortunately, one home right next to the fire building did catch fire as well, and it looked like it was pretty heavily damaged based on a picture posted by the Seattle Fire Department. Did not get an update on the status of that home, but the homeowner was able to evacuate without injury. Camera briefly shifting over to show us the major Rainier Avenue before turning back. Again, just a massive, massive blaze. We've now got flames on both sides of the street as that tree and those cars are now burning very well involved. Those firefighters on the street giving a sense of scale to just how tall those flames are. All right, for the next little bit, I have some longer clips of the firefighter radio traffic that I can add. They are in order, but I've cut out some silence between them, and they might not correspond exactly to where they are featured in the video, but they should be pretty close.
Command from North Division. We're evacuating the apartment at 3321 Claremont Avenue South. At this time, it's not involved.
Received North Division, you're evacuating the apartment building. Direction wants you to try to set up for ladder pipe operations. Get as close as you can, but be advised all the access on Walden is not available.
North Division, okay, we've got too much radiant heat over here to get a truck close by. We need to start knocking down the fire, protect the exposures. I've got a telephone pole with high voltage lines on fire to the east of the fire building.
North Division, I'm going to send you ladder 1 to help with the evacuations to protect that apartment building. North Division, from command, there's a house on the directly north of the fire building that is got some radiant heat on it. Inches 13 is putting a 2.5 months to protect that. Do you have eyes on that?
Affirmative. We're hitting it with a 2.5 on this side. We can't get any closer to the actual fire building because of down power lines and got power pole on fire.
Received. I need a company over. All responding companies come to the command post on Walden, and there is a assisted care facility to the south that we need to. We got firebrands coming down, so you need to get a line over there to protect that. Dispatch from command, let's upgrade this to a third alarm.
Okay, command. Third alarm.
Hey, command from Battalion 2. Battalion 2's at location. Located south side of the building with engine 28. You want to find me South Division?
Yeah, correction. Yes, I will have you be South Division with engine 28, engine 30, and ladder 1's going down there to help you as well.
Okay, we have significant fire brands coming to the building south of the main fire building. I'll give you some more information when we get to 360 down here.
Yeah, received. Deputy 1's at, we'll assume command. Only is from command. We've got a well-involved structure. We've got power lines down around the entire building. We've got units that are working on exposure control right now. At this time, be aware of where the power lines are. Do not work underneath them. This is a defensive fire. We're starting to lose fuel. We've got a third alarm coming. Just stay away from the power lines.
So defensive fire in this case means that obviously they're pouring water on from the outside, but they're not going to attempt to make entry into the structure because, of course, this is a construction site, also just because of how well involved the structure is. Now, it is interesting to see the flames are starting to die down a little bit compared to the beginning of the video. That's because a lot of the wood is already being consumed by the flames, and those upper floors seem like they're starting to collapse a little bit too. So as that continues, the flames are going to get lower and lower.
And ladder one is on Walden, directly east of the fire building, approximately 1/2 block with our area left for exposure protection.
Command received. At this time, we've got pretty good knockdown. The fuel is being removed from this fire. South Division, let me know what you have as far as exposure involvement. I'd like to reduce this back down to a 211. Advise me if you think that'll be okay. Command received currently with no exposure concerns on the south or the west side of the fire. We do have 2 car fires that are on the south side. I've got ladder 10 at the Washington Care Facility, which is directly south. Going up on the roof, checking for fire brands, and ladder 3 is checking the apartment building to the west for fire brands on the roof.
Command, okay. Dispatch, can we go ahead and code green the 311 response?
Okay, code green, the 311 response.
Ladder 3, or Battalion 5, command from Ladder 3 GB.
Yeah, Battalion 5 is now the South Division.
Right, Battalion 5 South Division. There's definitely fire coming out of the exposure building on the north side.
Battalion 5 received. Command from South Division.
Go ahead, South Division. We have units on the north exposure. This is a well-involved single-family residence. We use single-family residence dog unless people working on the exposure. You can advise me, are we going to go defensive or derelict? I don't have good eyes on it.
Command from the house fire. This is a 1.5-story single-family residence fire on floor 1, floor 2 in the attic. We also have a basement. No fire in the basement.
North Branch from Rescue 1, Team Bravo, primary church. I'm going to exposure hospital.
South Division from command. It's in at this point that we don't have any exposure fires going on in the South Division at this time. Can you confirm that? Command from South Division. We've got a couple of car fires that are working on final mop-up, and the building to the south, there's no report of fire at this time. We've got crews investigating it.
Command, okay. At this time, we have good knockdown on the initial fire building. We've got good knockdown on the single-family residence to the north, and most exposure concerns are taken care of. All units, still be aware, we got some collapse potential, and we have down power lines.
Now, this burning house that they're talking about was directly next to the burning construction site. It's possible that they couldn't even see that it was a separate structure until the flames had died down enough for them to get close. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, this house was heavily damaged. There's a picture of it on the Seattle Fireline blog, and I included a link to that in the description below. Now, we're about to have what looks like another collapse of the construction site. Unfortunately, the camera freezes right as it happens, but you can see embers and fire shoot farther up into the air than they have been in a while, and then the fire dies down after that. The first 911 calls for this fire came in at 2:38 a.m. and by 3:20 a.m. Firefighters had declared the fire under control and continued mopping it up and knocking it down as the night went on. More than 70 firefighters were dispatched to this incident, and thankfully they were able to keep it from spreading beyond the initial building and that building next door. This was declared to be an arson, one of a number of arsons in this part of Seattle that have taken place over the past few years. Several months now after the fact, they've not released a suspect information or said that they've caught somebody, so hopefully they will be able to arrest that person soon. We're going to end the video here as firefighters continue mopping up the blaze. As always, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.